Hey guys, this is the April 2024 live stream. Um, just ignore this over here. This is the best camera angle I can get today, I think. Coming at you from the car for hopefully the last time, because I will be headed back to Ohio. And I will be in Ohio by the time we do the next live stream. I am in Rock Hill, South Carolina, and I'm sitting at Nations Ford, or well, the parking lot above it is just over the hill. It's an old crossing of the Catawba River, and I don't know, there's like a lot of famous people that have been through there over the years. TMUSA, I see your comment. Hey, and thanks for being here. Thanks for being a mod. Thanks for whoever just liked the video. Appreciate that. Greg, good to see you. Glad you're here. I feel like we might either have a small crowd today or maybe people will just be rolling in a bit later. I remembered to post on the community tab a couple days ago that we were doing the live stream, but then I forgot to actually schedule the live stream today. Hey, Sandra. So, I guess the notification to the subscription feed only went out about 15 minutes ago. I'm hoping that when I actually go live, it'll send out some more notifications. So, it has been an incredibly busy month. Popcorn Family says it's almost 1 year since your car life adventure started. What is something you've learned since? I mean, it's definitely not as difficult as people, like myself included, think of it. Like when you think about living in your car, you think about how that's such a bad thing, and how difficult it is, and it's really not that at all. And I mean, I do look back a lot of times and I think I should have done this before. A lot of the tough positions I was in would have been much better had I just lived in my car. I didn't take that jump myself. I did it because of the whole roommate situation. But now that I have, I look back and I think, man, like, why did I drive 60,000 miles in 1 year? And all the stuff I've now had to replace and money I've had to spend on the car because of that. That was driving back and forth to Athens Athens to Columbus 5 to 6 days a week for doing work. And I could have just lived in my car in Columbus. I wouldn't have gotten behind on bills because I wouldn't have been paying for all that. Well, plus the rent and utilities and everything that I was paying almost $1,000 a month for. So that's one thing. And I think the other thing too is just, I don't think I'm ever going to go back. I mean, eventually I'm going to not be living in a car, but I don't ever want to go back to paying rent. So I have some ideas, but where I'm going to go from here, it's not to just go get an apartment somewhere. Now, if the fraternity job thing works out and I do end up getting an apartment through that, that's fine. But if I'm in a situation where I'm going to lose that, or at the end of a contract they don't renew my contract, it's not that big a deal anymore. I'll just go sleep in the car. Before I forget, drinks of the day. I had lunch at Chipotle. Well, breakfast. So this is just, this is Diet Coke. They were out of Coke Zero. And the main drink is just, what is this? Coke Zero from Quick Trip. So nothing fancy, but when I get back to Ohio, I am going to get ski. I've had it on the channel before as like the drink during the live stream. I'm really looking forward to it, actually. By the way, guys, there's some redneck revving his engine. You can probably hear that. I am in a parking lot in South Carolina, so it's very hot. And obviously I can't like run the AC while we do this. So I'm just sitting here with both windows down, but I am in a parking lot with other people around. So, you know, you're going to hear cars and rednecks and things like that. Let's see. Hey, Jennifer. All right. Other thing before we get into anything else. Hey, Max. Before we get into anything else, I just wanted to address the 2 comments I think I saw recently. TMUSA said that I need to contact the fraternity just about the job and see what's going on there. I have not done that yet, but I will either Monday or Tuesday. I really don't know when to expect to hear from them about that, because the first year, back in 2021, they posted something on the Facebook page about the positions that they had open, and that's how that started. But I think that was in either February or March, something like that. And I think I was hired by April, and I haven't seen that, but I've been watching the Facebook page. The other thing though is last year when they reached out to me, it was in June. So I'm not sure if it's like an early in the year thing or a mid-year thing when they figure out who they need. So I wasn't too worried about it yet, but I will do what you said. I'm just going to reach out to the executive director and remind him that, you know, I'm interested and see what he says. One other thing, I did say this is the last live stream from down here in the Carolinas. I will be leaving here actually fairly soon. The plan is to leave on the morning of the 8th. So May 8th. So far, I have an off-platform furniture assembly job that I'm planning on doing on the 1st. That'll get my cell phone paid. And the way my expenses are, I guess, timed on a calendar is I have a couple of small expenses. I think my mailbox I have to pay for, maybe something else. That comes out on the 1st, and then on the 3rd, my cell phone is due. So this job that I have on the 1st is going to pay for all of that stuff, plus give me $100 or so, and I'm going to try to get some work in the meantime. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, there's going to be roughly a week or so, maybe 5 days, that I take off. Not exactly a vacation, but the closest thing I've ever had to it. And during those 5 days or so, I'm going to be driving back from South Carolina to Ohio. I've got a bunch of stuff I got to stop and do along the way, and I'm going to stay for an extended period of time in Athens, which is about an hour out from Columbus. There's some stuff that I need to do in that area, but at the same time, it's a big enough town where if I need to do a little bit of DoorDash or something to make some money, I can do that while I'm waiting for some furniture tasks in Columbus. So it's all good there. So basically, let me see here. I don't want to get behind on the comments. But basically what I'm going to do is, if everything goes to plan, on the 8th of May, I will be headed back to Ohio with the goal of being there by the 15th. That gives me a super leisurely pace, also with enough time to stop at all the different places I need to do all the things I need to do. And let me get back to these comments, and then I'll go back and touch on the trip back. Max says, doing the 48-hour film project next weekend. We have to make a film in 48 hours. Hope I get a job out of it. Have not gotten any job offers since being laid off in February. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that project, but I mean, I know what that entails. Every once in a while, like when I am able to make videos, a lot of times it ends up being like that, where it's like, okay, I have one day off I can spare, and it's storyboarding to filming to editing to uploading, and everything has to be done that day. So I get that. And the job thing, man, I'm in the same position. I have been interviewing. Well, no, not interviewing. I've been applying. All I'm getting is rejection letters, no matter what I apply for. I'm not even like fully dedicated to the idea of getting a job, because I am still also doing furniture assembly for myself, and it fluctuates a lot. So like sometimes I'm like, hell yeah, like I'm completely fine on this income, and I'm gonna be able to do this. And then other times it's just like, I have no work at all. What's going on? So I'm not really sure what direction that's going in. And in the meantime, I've applied for some like part-time work. Yeah, I just get rejected from everything. And they don't even speak to me. It's not like they do a phone screen and then they don't like me. They literally just will not acknowledge me. So the I do have an interview tomorrow at IKEA. It's just a phone interview, and it's for the store in Columbus. Honestly, I don't really want it. It's just working in the store, and it's like, well, if furniture doesn't pick up, I'm gonna need this. But at the same time, I don't want to do it, and if furniture does pick up, I'm gonna start being upset and resentful toward the job, because that's gonna prevent me from making the money that I could have been doing the furniture stuff. So I don't know. I'm gonna go through the interview tomorrow and just see if I even make it to the next step. And of course, if they do want to offer it to me, I've got to tell them like, hey, I can't even start till the 15th. So just kind of see what happens with that. Francis Sanders says, let's see. I feel like it's been a while since the last stream. What's your job? So I actually, it's kind of hard to say. I actually have my business, which is building furniture. And I'm doing a lot of that on my own. TaskRabbit is not being exceptionally helpful right now as far as tasks. I did one big task for them last week. I made like $300 for the task, but beyond that, I'm getting like nothing. So, I mean, hopefully it picks up this summer. Hopefully it picks up once I get back to Ohio, but I don't know. But I'm doing a lot of that on my own. So that's my job, technically. I am doing some DoorDash and Instacart just to supplement that. And of course, I have my income that comes in from mobile ads, which is the company that puts the wrap on my car and then pays me for advertising. And then I also, of course, have money from YouTube. It's not a lot, but it was enough that I got the tire fixed this week. I told you guys in the last live stream that I was going to get it fixed, and then that didn't happen. It took almost a whole other month to get it fixed. Basically, TaskRabbit made some changes around the end of March, right? Yeah, end of March. And I wasn't seeing the effects of that until after I did the March live stream. So here I was planning on spending the money to go get the tire fixed, and then like all the money dried up. And I'm like, well, shit. And so anyway, the money's been coming in spurts. Like, it's either coming in like to the point where I don't have to worry about money at all, or I'm getting nothing. And I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I have no clue what's going on. But anyway, yeah. So thank you to you guys. I don't make enough to get paid out every month off YouTube revenue, but by the end of March, I hit the threshold, and then that paid out this month. So I did use that money to get a new driver's front tire, because it was almost completely bald. And I think I'm going to scrounge up enough, hopefully, by the time before I leave here, that I'm going to be able to get the back tire done. There's nothing wrong with it. It has a screw in it, and it's been there for a year. So I have to fill it up like once a day, because it doesn't go all the way flat, but it's flat enough the tire pressure monitoring system light comes on. So definitely for the road trip back, I want to get that fixed. And so I'm trying to scrounge together enough money to do that. It's like, the tire's on sale. I think it's $87, and then another $15 on top of that for installation. Let me see here. So yeah, that's a complicated answer, but that's my job right now. Max says, I'm getting a fair amount of interviews, but all of these jobs pay $20 an hour or less, which is nothing in the DC area. Yeah, I get that, man. I'm gonna be honest with you, like, that's kind of the situation with the IKEA job too. I think it pays $21 an hour, and that's why I'm struggling with it so much, because I'm like, I don't really want to do this work. I don't really want to do this job. And if it paid $30 an hour, I would be much more okay with it. But you're right, like, even in Columbus, $20 an hour is not going to get anything. If you think about 4 years ago, when I was working at a tech startup, I was making 17. Now, adjusted for inflation, that's probably well over 20 now. And that was considered, our pay at that startup was considered fairly low for the industry. So I even look back to like 2015, I was making $17 an hour then, which is now like probably $25 an hour. And it's like, these jobs are paying the same thing they did 10 years ago or 20 years ago. And in some cases, they're paying like far less, especially when you consider, like, just in considering for like inflation over time. And I'm just at the point where I'm just like, no, I will post ads myself. I will go out and get my own furniture assembly leads, and now I will charge $40 an hour or $60 an hour, depending on the market that I'm in. Like, I absolutely will not waste my time doing this. And that's probably the biggest problem that I have with jobs right now. And like I told you, the ones that I have been applying for, I'm not even being considered. So, yeah. Francis says, I really hope things start working for you, because you're a smart person that deserves better. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I really hope. I feel like things are starting to slightly look up, but at this point, things have been so bad for so long that, like, just purely just nothing going wrong seems like I'm doing a lot better. The change in the weather has helped. It's fully summer now. Although, like, because I get seasonal depression, and although it, like, never got super cold here, it was still cold enough to be uncomfortable. And the seasonal depression was nowhere near as bad as it usually is in Ohio, but I still was affected by it. So now that it's warmed up, that's better. I can definitely feel the difference. Court stuff, I'm caught up on that stuff. There is some stuff still to do, but I'm at a point now where most everything that had a timeline, I've got everything filed that I can for the timeline. And that's it. So that takes a lot of pressure off of me. And now I can actually spend my time focusing on making some changes that make things easier on me and make things better. I mean, getting back to Ohio, getting working, getting my storage units somewhat organized, getting the car fixed, things like that. The Banana Trader says, patch the tire. So I thought about that. I cannot get to it myself. Now, I know what a patch kit looks like. I've watched somebody do it. I feel like I would screw that up. And the thing is, it doesn't leak too bad with the screw or the nail or whatever it is in there. And I'm afraid that if I do the plug and if somehow I don't screw it up, it would just make it like it wouldn't seal right and it would leak worse than it does now. So I'm just gonna get it replaced. I've got like little bits of money in different places, and I'm trying to just cobble all that together in one place here within like the next week, that I can just get that done. Because mostly, and I'm going to talk to you guys about this a little bit, but on my way back, I would like to camp in the car. And that is a little bit different than what I've been doing. I'm like, you could call what I'm doing car camping, but it's me just like living in my car. I do actually, on the way back, I want to stop at New River Gorge, the new national park, and camp for a couple days. And the only issue with that is that I'm not going to have any way to go pump the tire. And it's also like at least $20 or $40 to go if I buy the compressor thing myself to pump it up, to keep that with me. And if I'm going to pay that much, I'm just going to buy a new tire. So, yeah, so that's just the route I'm going to go. Let's see here. Jennifer says, what's new since last time? So, oh, man, that's a big question. It has been an incredibly busy month. At the time that I made the last live stream, I was finalizing writing the first complaint against the first judge. When I told you guys I had loose ends and things that still had some timelines left on them, those complaints against the judges were like the two main last things, because they had to be filed within 2 years. They had to be filed within 2 years of all that stuff happening. And that was the statute of limitations for anything to be done. So I did, like, finally, like, literally, like, within a day of the deadline, I got that first one filed. It was kind of like I had, you know, the lawsuit, I finally found out it was dropped the end of January. And I started writing that thing in March. I had to take a month off. I mean, after 2 years of this, my brain is completely broken. And I had to give myself some time and decompress. And that's not fully done, but I had to relieve myself a little bit before I started writing these complaints. But I got it done. I got the first one submitted. I sent it to the Judicial Investigation Commission, and I did get a letter from them stating that they found probable cause to press charges against the judge. So I'm waiting. They're going to review it at their next hearing, or not hearing, next meeting. I don't know when that is, but it's within the next 60 days. And there's a process that follows after that, but they are taking it seriously, and they are pressing charges against him. It's a little bit of a weird thing because it's not criminal charges and it's not civil charges. Judicial charges are like a thing of their own, and they have their own court system that deals with it. But something is going to be done about what happened. So in his case, and in me writing this complaint, I realized that he has been in a lot of trouble before, like with this commission, and then the equivalent commission for when he was a lawyer. He's been in a lot of trouble. So, I mean, I don't think they're gonna fire him, but like, this is a pretty big deal. Then I had a second complaint to write against the circuit court judge that was due by the 22nd of this month. That's also in. I did get a notification from my virtual mailbox here that they've replied. I assume that it's going to be the same thing where they find probable cause and are going to review it at the next hearing, but I don't know for sure until I open it. Like go pick up the mail and open it, and I haven't done that yet. So that was a huge project for this month. Getting the money together to get that tire fixed was another huge project. I sporadically have been getting a lot of work. TaskRabbit is completely dead. I don't know what's going on there, but I've been posting my own advertising, and I've been getting a lot of work through that, and I make a lot more money doing that. But the thing is, it's kind of like I'll get a bunch of work scheduled all at once, and then like 2 or 3 weeks will pass where I don't even get anybody sending me a message. So it has something to do with the algorithm of the place where I'm posting the ads, but yeah, I'm just doing the best I can with that. I've got one more job that's pre-scheduled for the 1st, and it's a $225 flat fee. So at least I know I've got that coming in. Also, Mint, the software that I've been using for all these years to track my finances, it ended. And so there was this huge push to find, it took me a ton of time to find something to replace it, and then also to find a way to download all my transactions for the last 14 years, and find a way to save those, and then also to do it was a huge mess. But all the data is saved. I've signed up for 3 different ones, I think. I haven't started actually tracking my finances in any of them, but what I'll probably do is throughout the summer, I will start tracking my finances in all 3. I'll see which one I like the best, and then at some point in the future, when I'm able to start making like budget reviews and budget with me videos again, I will show you guys which one I'm going with, and yeah, just kind of show you guys how to understand the whole new format. I've just got to figure out which one I want to use, and then I got to learn the format before I start using it to make videos. Let's see here. Max says $17 in 2020 would be $20.52 inflation adjusted. Okay. I mean, it also has to do with like the type of job. I loved my tech job. I don't really even want to work at IKEA. Like it's just retail, right? And so $20.52 an hour to go sit in a cool office downtown, like I'd probably be fine with that even now. Retail, that's just not enough to do retail. So that's an issue as well. Jennifer says, have you had any contact with your ex-girlfriend? When was the last time you spoke with her? The last time that I spoke with her was November, and that was her deposition. Her lawyer asked me to write a letter at the end of that deposition, and I sent it in December. So I don't know for sure if he gave it to her or if he just read it. She did ask for a copy of a video, and I did send that to her at the same time. So, I assume that got to her. That would have been in December of last year. And then I haven't contacted her, but she has done some stuff. Like without going into some specifics, like I've noticed that she's changed some stuff online that we both have access to, if that makes sense. And so she didn't exactly contact me, but she went into stuff of ours and changed it online. And that happened, one thing I noticed in December, and the other one happened in March or April. I think it was March. But she hasn't contacted me directly as far as I know. I kind of don't think she will. Not really sure what to do if she does, but yeah, no, I haven't heard from her. Of course, when I go back, I have to pass through Parkersburg, and I'm actually going to be staying for like a day, so there's the potential that we'll run into each other, but like, I'm not going to speak to her if I see her, you know, unless it's like incredibly awkward not to, or something, you know, like if she's coming out a door and I'm coming in and, you know, it was like super awkward and we run into each other, I'm not going to not say sorry or excuse me or something, but like, I'm not going out to like try to talk to her. And I know that might not make sense right now, but I think I mentioned in the last live stream, I'm gonna end up telling you guys what all happened, both in the relationship and with the court stuff, because originally I wasn't going to, but then I was gonna make that video just telling you guys the lawsuit ended. But then it just got to the point where I realized if I'm gonna make any statement about this at all, I kind of just have to tell you guys the whole story, because it doesn't make any sense otherwise. So at some point there will be a long series of videos, like, and I'm talking long, like it might be 50 parts, like 50 different videos that are like maybe 10 minutes each, that are posted not all at once, but over time, where I'm going to be able to tell you guys the story, what all happened, and go really in depth on the court stuff and what all happened there. So, I just don't know. I would like to get back to Ohio first, so I have access to a better place to film. I can get my lighting and my tripod, and then it'll probably be a month, like, before all that story gets up there. But once you guys hear that, I think you'll understand more of like why. It's not so much that I don't like want to talk to her. I know it's not going to go well if I did, but it's not that I don't want to talk to her. It's just I have to not, because I have to protect myself. And that doesn't make any sense right now, I know, but it will after I explain everything. It's just it's not a choice anymore. It's a matter of self-preservation. Jenny says, hello, Mark, how are you? Did you dye your hair, or is it natural? Are you living in your car? Yeah. Jenny, I know you've been on the channel before. It seems like it's been a really long time since I've heard from you, though. So I guess in general, I'm probably not doing all that well. I've had a really, really bad last 2 or 3 years, depending on how you look at it. I just got through a really tough winter. Yeah, I'm living in my car. I essentially went from one domestic violence situation to another. And that second one led me to being homeless. I've lived in my car now for a year. As far as my hair, it is natural. It's different colors, I know that. It's super long right now because my haircut dude's in Ohio, and I'm gonna get it cut when I get back. But like, yeah, it's different colors. It's like darker on top, and the sides are like lighter. There's a few white hairs mixed in there too, and then there's a few copper color hairs just randomly. Let's see. Sandra says, when depression kicks in, I just blast sound bites that makes me happy, and I really keep myself extra busy, even if I need to work extra night shifts. But just make sure I eat regularly and sleep enough. Yeah, I do. For the most part, I do pretty good on the sleep thing. And I eat. There have been times where things are tight and I don't have money to eat. But for the most part, I've been able to. I eat pretty cheap, which is also why I've gained so much weight. I just weighed myself today. I'm 205, which is the heaviest I've ever been. I I did hit 205 once when I was in high school, but like that was because I was on a medicine that was making me gain weight. So I'm equal right now to the most I've ever weighed. And that's going to be one huge change, is when I get back to Ohio, I can stop eating fast food for every meal. I mean, you guys have probably seen Super Size Me. I actually know that dude and his brother. They're from my hometown, Morgan, and I worked with his brother through TaskRabbit. But anyway, you know, he tried to do it for 30 days and like he had to stop because the doctor told him he was going to die. I've been eating fast food for every single meal since December when I lost the co-working space. So I've been doing 4+ months now. I don't know how much money. Well, I've wasted a lot of money because it's expensive. But you know, I don't have a kitchen or anywhere to prepare or store or food. So when I get back to Columbus, I will have my co-working space where I can both prepare and store food. And I'm in no way saying I'm not going to eat out at all. But I'd say like 2 meals a day I will eat there, and I will save a ton of money. Plus, I'll probably just naturally lose weight from not eating garbage all the time. So yes, that'll be something that happens, and I'm really looking forward to both just having the stability of the co-working space, but also like just eating better, because I desperately want to. Jennifer says, had to fix my car this weekend, was $800. That does sound like a lot. What was it? I'm really surprised to hear that you have a car. I mean, maybe I just assumed because you're in Europe that you like either walk everywhere or take public transit. Obviously, we don't have that here. So, like, I have to have a car. What kind of car do you have? Do they even have Subarus in Sweden? I don't know how that works. Oh, and then Jennifer asked copy of what video. She's referring to when I was talking about my ex. So back in April of 2021, I sent my ex a video. Basically, it's just like this. It's just me sitting there talking. But what it was is I had found out that she was being, to not get into specifics right now until I make the other videos, let's just say that she was being sketchy as fuck. And like a normal person, I just tried to talk to my partner about my concerns, and she used every maneuver possible to just prevent that conversation from happening, and just tried to get me to just drop it and move on. But it wasn't something that was petty. Like, it was something that was really serious, and she just would not address it. So I made a video just like I'm making a video now. And I mean, it was more polished and edited, but I laid out all of my concerns, and I said, look, we can't move forward until we address this. You won't talk to me about it. So what I did is I made this video and I sent it to her, and I said, look, this is what I'm thinking. Like, we're not moving forward until this is addressed. And anyway, she got really angry. I mean, she didn't watch it for a week, and then she got really angry because, well, I mean, it was calling her out on stuff that she was doing that was bad. And like anger, like no human being should be able to experience. And then pretty much after a week, it was just over. Like, she wasn't mad anymore. She just told me, like, no more videos, okay? And then the video wasn't a problem, and she wasn't upset about it until a year later when she filed a restraining order. and suddenly the video is a huge problem. But essentially what it comes down to is I made the video to try to work on the relationship and talk about problems in the relationship like a normal person. I only had to do it by video because she just would not address it any other way. And I drew a line in the sand and said, I'm going to send you this whether you like it or not. And we're not moving forward until this is addressed. And, you know, afterwards, other than saying no more videos, the only other thing she ever said about it was she told me that I'm not allowed to have boundaries with her. So she understood that the video was me setting boundaries of what behavior from her I was going to tolerate moving forward if she wanted to remain in my life. She's, you know, she's made it out to be just the most abusive thing that anyone has ever done, and it's like, but it's not abusive. I wasn't mean to you. I didn't yell at you. I didn't call you names. I mean, honestly, setting a boundary saying you're not allowed to cheat on me is not abusive. It's just mind-boggling that that's actually her argument. So, so her response to that after she calmed down was to tell me that I wasn't allowed to have boundaries with her. So that's what that whole situation was about. And she wanted a copy of it. Basically, I had put it on my personal YouTube channel, not this one. But like my personal YouTube channel that I don't have any videos on that are public, I don't think. And I put it as unlisted. So, and then I just linked her to the video. But the thing is, she kept sharing it with people and she kept watching it. Even like far after she filed the restraining order, she was like sending it to people. And I can see that from the analytics. So sometime in the summer of 2022, I made it just private because I was just sick of, I'm like, I know she's conducting a smear campaign and sending this to everybody. So I'm just not gonna let her do it anymore. And then she got irate, of course, because now she doesn't have the video. And to be fair, she told me at the first court trial hearing thing that we had that she had saved the video. So I didn't think that by me shutting off her access that like it completely prevented her from watching it. I thought she had a copy of it. But I guess she meant later, she told me later, I guess she meant that she just saved it to a playlist and then it wasn't there. So she asked me for a copy of it at her deposition and I sent her a copy because I didn't say or do anything wrong in the video. I'm not ashamed of it. So, you know, even though I know she's going to use it to make me look bad, I just was like, there's nothing wrong with this, even if you think there is, so here you go. And, you know, if it does come up later, if she tries to keep saying, like, oh, it's, you know, this is so horrible what you did, I'm just going to put the video on here. I'll just make it public for all you guys to see. The only reason I haven't done that is because it has her name in it, and I've tried to not put out any identifying details about her. But yeah, I mean, if she still wants to make that claim and try to cause problems with that, I'll just make it public and then everybody will know what she did. So, okay, so Max says, thoughts on Lance Armstrong, was his cheating justified? I don't know. I mean, I know what situation you're talking about, but I actually don't know enough about it to really know if it was justified. I can't think of how it could be. I mean, unless he has some kind of argument for why it would be justified, I can't think of like how or why cheating would be justified, if that makes sense. Jennifer says, haha, I commute to work. I drive a Volvo. And that makes sense. Made in Sweden. Had some engine problem that had to be fixed. So I heard that Volvo has this thing where if you're in the US, maybe in other countries too, but if you're in the US, you can buy a new Volvo and the company pays for you to fly to Sweden, and you get like a week that you can drive the car there. And I think they pay for like your housing and stuff too. And then they ship it to you in the US. Max says, thoughts on Mike Rowe? I feel he is just a ploy for shitty jobs and corporations. Is Mike Rowe the dirty jobs guy? Or is it the guy that builds, like, remodels houses that other people screwed up? I'm not sure. Jennifer says, could take the train, but I'm happier driving. Yeah, I get that. I mean, here, obviously, the train's not even an option. Like, people here would have a riot and say that it's like a communist, like, plot or something. Like, literally anything. I mean, you should see, oh my God, post about solar panels on Facebook and see the hate you get. But like, but I guess, I mean, I'm kind of the same way. Like, as much as I would love to live in a walkable city or be able to take public transit, it's just literally, it's not an option. But even if it was, I don't think I could, yeah. Damn. Yeah, I just don't think I could really make that work in any kind of situation. Like, when I lived in Columbus, because I worked downtown, we got this thing called C-Pass. All the downtown workers got a free bus pass. Columbus doesn't have any rail, but in order to use it, I had to drive my car 2 miles to the park and ride. And then I would take the bus, but the bus took over an hour to go from where I lived to downtown. So that adds, not counting me driving to the park and ride and back, 2 hours to my workday for the commute. And then it also, like, didn't run on Sundays, and I worked on Sunday, so I could only use it 4 days a week. It was a mess. I tried it. I don't even know if I saved any money. Sorry, all the comments are gone. There they are. Okay. Max says Morgan Spurlock is pretty famous. Him and his brother are not rich. They're from Super Size Me. Well, I mean, I don't know, like, wealth-wise. I mean, they're much better off than me. His brother, so, okay. I'll tell you what I know. So Morgan's from Parkersburg, same town as me. I think he was either born there, but he didn't, like, grow up there. I think he was born there. He moved to Beckley, which is kind of on the other side of West Virginia, and his mom was like a lunch lady in a cafeteria there. No idea what his dad did. I don't even know what Morgan's doing right now. I think he's still making films. There was actually a sequel to Super Size Me that was filmed in Columbus. His wife is a vegan chef in New York City. They live in Brooklyn, or at least they did. And his brother lived with them for a while. I don't know what brought him to Columbus, but he's doing TaskRabbit. So, like, I mean, he had a nice car. He had a nice setup. He's definitely better off than me. I don't think he necessarily is rich. I will say that, like, between Morgan being a famous filmmaker and his wife being, you know, the chef, and them living, like, in a nice apartment in Brooklyn, like, they're doing pretty well. I mean, compared to me, that's definitely rich. Ryan Shore says, do you have any tattoos? No, I don't. I've never really wanted to get one. I've never, like, I'm not like super opposed to them either, but I've never had a strong desire to get one, and I don't really have any solid ideas of like what I would get tattooed if I did get that. Popcorn Family says, you do look heavier. I assumed it was from the stress of everything. I know many people who live in their car who have a single burner where they cook their food. Yeah, so I am actually a lot heavier. Like, I was looking back at my my like fitness stuff. So before, by the way, we're calling this the divorce. I'm going to explain that. I'll explain it more when I make the series of videos, but the reason I'm calling it the divorce is for two reasons. Number one, when she and I were separated, that's the word that she used, from 2015 when we had our big breakup to 2019 when we got back together, she herself referred to that time as when we were separated. So that was the separation. The second reason that I'm calling this the divorce is because it started off when I was going through court, and I was, my life was just ruined, and I was dealing with all this stuff. I would try to tell people what I was going through, and it was just so much to even just say each individual thing that people just zoned out. But after a while, I realized how similar what I was going through, both in the breakup and the court fighting, was like a divorce, that I just started like telling people, it's like, well, it's not exactly a divorce, but it's like something similar. And people immediately got it. Like, that encompasses all the crap that I've been going through, and people just immediately know what is like included in a divorce. So yeah, so that's why I'm referring to this as a divorce. And the third reason, and you guys are going to see this as a repeating pattern when I do get to make these videos, that court system in West Virginia, it's just such a shit show. But at one point early on in this, they actually asked me if I wanted to divorce her. And I was like, well, we're not married. I don't want to, but is that a thing I can do? And they're like, yeah. I don't know if that's true. Honestly, they've told me stuff before that was like completely wrong. And I've never heard of such a thing. I don't even know why you would divorce the person you're not married to. But they asked me if I wanted to do that. So, so I guess that's a third reason that I'm going to call that this whole situation the divorce. Yeah. So and then, yeah. So I've gained about 40 pounds. So from the beginning of all this shit, and you're right, a lot of it is from the stress. When I was at my happiest, I was at my slimmest. I was about 160 pounds. Well, I'm at 205 now. But I think maybe I only gained about like 15 pounds or so from the stress. The rest of it has been just food. I mean, it's partly I have to eat shitty food because food's gotten so expensive, and I'm still struggling with money, that I have to eat cheap stuff, which is the stuff that's not good for you. But I can, even if it's just getting a TV dinner and heating it up in the microwave, that saves me about half my food cost over eating out, if I can do that. But that requires me having access to one, a place to store the food, and two, a place with like a microwave to make the food. Co-working space works great for that, but as I told you guys before, everything was supposed to switch over when I got down here, and then it didn't. And so I've been without a co-working space since, I think it was December 11th. So that is like literally one of the first things that's going to get rectified when I get back to Ohio. The plan is I'm going to get most of the way back there, get to Athens, and then while I'm in Athens, I know that I'll be able to make some money on DoorDash there. It's like kind of like a special thing with that market where there's a lot of orders and it's a tiny town, so you hardly have any mileage and it's actually pretty profitable. So I'm going to spend a few days there maybe, and I'm going to save up about $200, and that's going to do a couple things. They did raise the cost of the co-working space. It's $120 a month now, but that'll give me the $120 plus the one-time sign-up fee that I'm going to have to pay again. And there will be enough money left over there to get my hair cut, because this has not been cut since November. It's ridiculous, and I do look a lot thinner too after I get my hair cut. It's like a very noticeable difference. So get the haircut. I'm also going to try to probably get my eyebrows done because they're really bad too. But the haircut's the most important part, and that's going to get done hopefully in May, I think. Yeah, that's the plan. So, okay, at the moment, I'm caught up with comments. I'm going to run over here to the bathroom real quick because I've just drank this entire thing. And you guys feel free to make your comments, and I will respond to them as soon as I get back. Give me like 3 minutes. Okay, I'm back. You guys are still here. Awesome. Thank you for waiting. All right. Let's see. Oh, okay. So no new comments. So feel free. Anything you have to say, anything you have to ask. Oh, and I see Sandra's got one. So let me actually tell you guys what I was going to tell you, and then Sandra, I'll circle back and get your comment there. So the plan is, let me ask you guys this first. Let me see if, can I add a poll here? I swear, I thought. Huh. I thought I could do a poll on the live streams, but I don't see the option now. I don't know what I just did. Okay, well, forget it. So we'll do it later. I swear there is a way I can do a poll in a live stream, but I don't see it. So maybe I have to do that from desktop. What I wanted to ask you guys is, would you be interested in seeing a vlog of my return journey? I feel like I don't really do much that's interesting, obviously, because I'm poor, so I don't do much because I try to save money. But I'm making the best of the situation, and as I drive back, I am planning on doing a few things, and just trying to like enjoy myself. I wondered if that would be something that you guys would want to see. If not, that's okay too. I mean, it's fine with me if I don't film it. I just thought I might. So basically the plan is I'm going to shoot straight from South Carolina to West Virginia. If it's a 4-hour drive from where I'm at right now in South Carolina to New River Gorge, to the exact camping area that I'll want to be at. So on Wednesday the 8th of May, the plan is I'm going to leave here and drive basically 4 hours straight, except for stopping at like rest areas and stuff. And I'm going to drive 4 hours straight. That's going to take me to New River Gorge National Park. I'm going to camp there for probably a couple of nights. And I might do some hiking while I'm there. Just going to depend on the weather, because West Virginia usually gets a lot of rain in April. But that's okay. If it's raining, I'll probably just stay in the car at the campsite and I can entertain myself. But if it's nice outside, I'll go down to the river and go hiking. And then I'm planning on working my way back to Charleston. And if I need to make a little bit more money for the return journey, I can do a couple Instacart orders. It's usually pretty good in Charleston. I'd like to stop at the State History Museum. I haven't been for more than 10 years, and it's free. And then I want to go from there to Parkersburg, which most of that I probably wouldn't film because it's like court stuff and it's boring. But there's a few things that I need to do there. And then I have to go both to my mom's storage unit, which is in that area, and my storage unit, which is about 15 miles north, because I've got to take some stuff out of the car, put stuff in the car that needs to go to Columbus, like getting my tripod and lighting, so I can make more videos. And then from there, I'm going to go to Athens, where I said I'm going to stay and work for a few days doing DoorDash, and I'm probably going to hang out at the university. Athens is a very laid-back, very homeless-friendly city, van life, car camping friendly city. And while I'm in the area, I'm probably going to go check out some land I want to look at. And I might go camp at Wayne National Forest again on the way back. And then that's basically going to be my last stop before I get all the way back to Columbus. So I guess it's not going to have a very climactic ending. It's just going to be like, okay, I'm leaving Athens and I'm back now. Because I don't want to show like where I'm living in Columbus, but at least there would be some stuff going on, like, that's interesting along the way. Okay, so Sandra says, I love to make a savory oatmeal porridge when eating on a budget with soup stock, any vegetable or meat scraps. Can cook it in a co-working space. I don't know how I feel about savory oatmeal. I can't imagine what that would be. I like oatmeal. And I also like overnight oats. That's actually something that I could make in the co-working space and just leave the jar in the fridge. But you're right, I could. So in the co-working space, we generally have fridge, freezer, ice maker, toaster. Some of them have a toaster oven because there's like multiple locations. Sink, dishwasher, and a microwave. Now I have a casserole dish in the back of the car here. One of the most random things that I have in here. I use that a lot because a lot of the stuff that's supposed to be cooked on stovetop can actually be cooked in the microwave if you use a casserole dish. And so that kind of expands my eating options too. And I have used that in the past. So that's something that I know I can do with the co-working space. Now the savory oatmeal thing, you said was soup stock and any vegetable or meat scraps. The only thing would be, I don't know where I would get vegetable or meat scraps because I'd have to cook something else in order to get there. The thing about the co-working space is during the day, like the 9 to 5 era, I probably wouldn't do much more than like heat something up. But when it's after that and I'm there until like midnight, 2 a.m. by myself, I just do whatever I'm gonna do. Like there's like a big screen TV and I'll just put like whoever has their Netflix account signed in there, I'll just watch a movie on there. And like there's one other dude that hangs out there late at night. He sleeps in his office half the time. Whatever, he doesn't bother me. But like I will like he doesn't care what I do. And yeah, I pretty much just like take it over as my own living room. And that's what I do probably is I mean there's no like oven and there's no like stovetop. So I'm still kind of limited, and I also don't want to look like I'm living there. But like, I don't know, if the savory oatmeal thing, I would try it. I'm just a little hesitant because I can't imagine what that would taste like. I don't know. Because like one thing I'd love to make, like one of the few things I know how to make is beef stew. But somebody's gonna notice if I have a crock pot going in there, and like, so I'm not gonna do that. Jennifer says, "What is your biggest weaknesses and what's your greatest strength?" Oh man, that's tough. I can't answer that even like in a job interview. They'll probably ask me that tomorrow. When they start asking questions like that, I just completely zone out because like I know that my answers to it are not good. I mean, okay, the strength one is easier for me to answer. And that's that I'm resilient. Always have been. So it's kind of like, well, like I said, on this trip back, like I'm doing this, and like trying to make the best of it. It's like, here I am, a homeless guy, getting my car to, creep back into Ohio, with all the problems that it has, but then like I'm trying to take time for myself to just enjoy things along the way. And I've been through a lot. We've talked about that, probably more than most people ever go through in their lives. I've already been through, and I don't like it, but I also just don't, for the most part, I don't let it get me down. So I'm usually able to find a way to I guess, be resourceful and find my way out of whatever kind of situation I'm in. But as far as weaknesses, I think most of those I think I found in myself through my last relationship, because those were the things that were sort of taken advantage of. I think pretty clearly I'm too trusting. And I don't really want to change that, because I don't want to become a person who just like is suspicious of everyone. But I do think that is a lot of the cause of what happened to me. I put up with too much, where other people would have put their foot down a long time ago. I didn't. And I just kept trying to make things work. And again, I think that goes along with like caring too much. Weaknesses. I'm gonna address one thing, because it was in some comments a couple months ago on the channel, and I never actually talked about it. But one thing that I think people are waiting for me to say, and I don't agree that it's a weakness, but is being stubborn. But the specific way in which I'm stubborn is, a lot of times, even on this channel, people will give me advice on something and I just kind of immediately shoot it down. And I'm not doing that because I'm stubborn, and I'm not doing that because I'm not listening. Like, no matter what people tell me, I consider it and I factor it into the decisions I'm making. It's just, a lot of times things are really complicated in my life, and it takes a lot of thought, because there's so many factors that go into what is going to be the right decision to make. And both in my life and a lot of times in the comments on the channel here, I get people who will come along and say, well, you're just stupid. Like, this is the solution. It's this one single thing. It's so obvious. And like, it's your fault that you're not doing it. And almost always, whatever it is that they're saying is the simple solution, either like doesn't apply to the situation at all, or it overlooks all of the reasons that I've already stated why that couldn't work or wouldn't work in this situation. And I had, like I said, there was a conversation in the comments a couple months ago where I ended up having to block 2 people from commenting on the channel, because they were just insisting that I was just like, I was just being stubborn and I wouldn't do anything right. And I'm like, well, you know, I tried to explain everything I just explained to you guys. Like, this is why I do this. Like, you guys don't know the full picture. Like, I have to consider and weigh all these things. And they just weren't having it. And so I guess what I'm saying is, a lot of people will say like, oh, well, your problems are so simple to fix and you just won't listen. Where in reality, I am listening, but I haven't heard a solution that works for the situation. Your solution that you're putting forth doesn't work. And the other side of that is like, I shouldn't have to do that just because you say that I have to do that. Like, it's my life and it's my decisions to make. So I have to make what I've determined to be the best decisions. And a lot of times people, they don't like that. They kind of feel entitled to tell you that this is what you have to do. And if you don't do that, they're like, well, you're stubborn. And it's like, well, no, I'm not. I'm just making a different decision because I'm considering everything, and you're not. So I don't know. I guess people would say me being stubborn is a weakness, but I actually think that it's a strength, because if I just did what everybody told me to do and made the decisions that way, I mean, I would be so much worse off in life, because being so discerning about the decisions I make has been how I've been able to survive all the stuff that I've gone through. So yeah, that's my rant about that. I've been meaning to address that on the channel. And I guess my end point is, you guys can say whatever you want in the comments. You guys can give me advice completely unsolicited, and that's fine, and I do consider it. But, you know, if you give me advice and I don't want to follow it, like, you don't get to insult me, and you don't really get to be entitled for me to do what you're telling me to do. That's the part that people are missing. Okay, so Jennifer asked another question here. She said, do you have any addictions? My addiction is Swedish candy, and I do love me a good nicotine pouch when I need to be productive at work. Nicotine pouch? I don't even know what a nicotine pouch is. What is that? I have literally no clue what that is. Okay, so my addiction is this. It's not necessarily Coke Zero. It's the caffeine. And for some reason, it seems to be socially acceptable to be completely addicted to caffeine if you're drinking coffee. I get so much shit for drinking pop. People's like, oh, it's so unhealthy. I'm like, it's exactly the same thing as you drinking coffee. I just don't like the taste of coffee, so I don't drink it. But short tangent here. There's been a couple times in my life, 2 or 3 maybe, where I've completely got myself off caffeine and have gone through withdrawals, and caffeine withdrawals are some of the worst from any drug. And I completely go through with that, and I start to get to an equilibrium. Dude just like completely ran his car into a retaining wall. It was just like right across the parking lot. Anyway, but I've got to that point, and the I don't know, it was so hard for me. And then I was talking to my mom and realized that probably the reason that it's so hard for me is my mom drank Coke the entire time she was pregnant with me. She said that she tried to stop, and like, I don't know if that was for a couple days or what, but it didn't work. So her entire pregnancy with me, she's drinking, because I know now she goes through like a 12-pack of Coke every day, like cans. My mom is just feeding me intravenously. I don't know if that's the right word, but, and you know, whatever, through through the umbilical cord with caffeine before I'm even born. So it's no wonder I'm addicted to caffeine and can't get off of it. I know it's one of the lesser things to ever be addicted to. I remember actually the last day that I sat with my ex in her hospital room, and me, her, and her mom were talking about our addictions. Her mom's a chain smoker. She's an alcoholic. And then they were making fun of me because my addiction is caffeine. Everybody just, you know, it's not taken seriously. Because it's like so much less than anything else you can be addicted to. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, Jennifer, also the Swedish candy. Is that like Swedish fish? Or is it more like the, I know IKEA has, at the end of the store, like after you check out, they've got the little grocery section, and like they've got like the gummy candies in different flavors, and then they've got, I don't know if it's called I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like either Dame or Dime or something like that. It's like an almond cake kind of thing, but I think they also have a candy made out of that. And I think licorice too, right? You guys have that? I don't like black licorice, but I like the rest of it. Let's see here. Ellie says, yes, I would like to see a vlog of your return journey. And then Jennifer said, yes, to vlog about your return journey. But please also make the other videos you've been talking about. Hopefully you have them written down somewhere. Yeah, okay, so I guess, yeah, I can do the vlog. I'm just warning you guys up front. It's just gonna kind of end abruptly because I don't have any like big thing that's happening at the end. I can do that. Now, as far as the other videos, I have a mental list. I think the priorities, though, are going to be when I get back to Ohio, I'm going to have to do the mid-year videos because I'm going to have to do an update on the financial goals for mid-year. That's going to be early July. And then there's the student loan video that is supposed to come out in July of every year that I have not done since I think 2020 because just everything going on. So I got to make sure I get that one done. I do have a lot of these in my mind, and some of them are going to have to go not private, but like members only. Now the return vlog journey, that'll be fine. That'll be out for everybody to watch. I am slowly working on the roommate video where I tell you guys what all happened with that and with his court stuff, but that is going to have to go into a members only thing. I can't make that public because I know he's watching for it to be up. So, and that's gonna, of course, require me to like make that whole thing. I gotta sign up. What in the hell? I gotta sign up for that with YouTube, and sorry, I'm gonna show you guys what I'm looking at because this is distracting. That is on my windshield. You can't, why is it so blurry? It is a giant bug. I don't know what that is. All right, well, anyway, it's outside. Yeah. Okay, as long as it's outside, I don't care. So, yeah, I don't have a written down list, but I have a mental list. And there's a ton of them I want to make. And of course, that's something that I'm going to work really hard on this summer, is getting back into the swing of making videos. Because when you think about like when I kind of got out of making the videos, it was when all this stuff with courts started. So now that it's finally ending, now I'm able to focus back on like what I should have been working on in the first place. Sandra says, yes, if it works with my schedule, but it's definitely nice to have company during the long journey, even if the people are via streaming. Okay. If it works with my schedule, but it's definitely nice to have company during the long journey, even if the people are via streaming. Yeah, so I'll make that video for the trip back, and it's just going to be like a rough cut vlog, just like the one that was me coming down here, but you know, it'll have a few things in it. Well, okay, so I promise you guys I'll do it. I'll figure out the format later. Jennifer says, do you know snus? It's like that, but without tobacco. It's white. I vaguely know what snus is. So is it a thing that you put in your mouth? because I know what snuff is, and I know that snus is like kind of like an alternative to that, I think, or maybe it is just snuff in a little white bag. I mean, since I don't use any kind of tobacco, or, well, I guess that's not even tobacco, but, well, since I don't use anything like that, I don't really know. Oh, actually, I have used tobacco once. So I technically have had nicotine in my system once. I'm still ashamed of this. Back in 2013, I was going through a really rough time with the girl, of course. And my fraternity brothers wanted to go to a hookah bar because that was a big thing at the time. Normally, I wouldn't have participated, but I got like belligerently drunk because also I hardly ever drink, but I was like so upset with her that I got like super drunk, and then so I did that, and I actually don't remember a whole lot of it because I had drank a lot. So yeah, still regret doing that. Jennifer says yes, but oh, you put it under your lip. Well, yeah, no, I don't really have any. I mean, I've got caffeine. I suppose fast food is probably a vice, but like I've told you guys, I'm way over even my limit on that. I'm trying to just have a freaking TV dinner sometimes. But no, I live a pretty clean lifestyle. I mean, I think people have an idea of people who are homeless or people who have a lot of things going wrong in their lives, and they automatically think that those people have done things to like bring that on themselves. And a lot of that, you know, people assume that people that are poor or having problems with their lives or like on drugs or something. There are a lot of them that are, whether it was the drugs that caused the problem or they started using the drugs to cope with the problem. But that's just not really the case for me. But then again, for the most part, I cannot stand other homeless people. Like, I mean, I struggle to keep myself together, but I just definitely do not act like that. So I don't know. Let me see here. So I will make that video, guys. Like I said, I kind of am just shooting directly from here to New River Gorge. Gonna try to stay for a couple nights, and then the stuff in Parkersburg is gonna be boring. Maybe a little storage unit content when I switch that stuff over, and then Athens will probably be okay. I'm gonna try to like chill in Athens for a while, and you guys might get some like outdoor content there. Well, especially because I'm gonna go look for land, so we can go look for land together. Not that I have any money to be buying land, but you know, it's like people go look on Zillow at mansions. I found a couple properties that I want to look at. So, okay, Jennifer commented something. Weren't you on your way to getting an apartment, or am I misremembering? I was, originally. So I had found a really cool micro loft in Columbus, and I was planning to get it when my roommate did his whole thing a year ago. But, of course, I didn't have the money saved up then. And then the plan was to move into that place by like September of last year, but just with everything that happened, I didn't have the money, and because I didn't have the money to get into a place, that was why I left and went south for the winter, just because I knew that it would be like, it would be too cold to stay there. I'm thinking now I'm probably just going to go a different direction. Like, either I'm going to take the fraternity job, and that includes an apartment inside the house, and I'm just going to live there like that, at least for a year or two, but that'll get me a place for now. Or I'm going to go do something else. Like, because like I said in the beginning of this stream, I kind of have gotten to the point where I don't think I ever want to have rent again. And that sounds unreasonable until you've lived without rent, and then you realize that it's not that difficult to not have it. I mean, what I would really like to do, I'd really like to get like a camper. Something like that. And that's why I'm looking at land. I'm looking at land that I can just get a used camper, because the depreciation on those things is crazy. You can get one that's like 3 or 4 years old that's, you know, maybe a third of what they bought it for. And if I can keep the tasks coming in, whether they be TaskRabbit or the doing it on my own for furniture assembly, I could reasonably buy land and a camper within the next year or so. I wouldn't have utilities, but I don't have utilities now, and I do fine. So, and then I could just start slowly upgrading things. Like, eventually I could probably get water. Eventually I could probably get, like, Starlink for internet. So, I mean, I don't know exactly if this is the direction that I'm going to go in, but yeah, when I do this vlog and I take you guys to come look at this land, I'll start talking ideas about, like, how I'm going to start, like, bettering my position in life as far as like, standard of living, without increasing, well, maybe not possible to not increase my cost at all, but, like, without adding a huge expense like rent or utilities. And I do actually think this is really doable. It's definitely kind of like, it's not the traditional thing, it's kind of counterculture, but realistically, I'm 38 years old. If I want to be able to become financially stable, I have to do stuff that other people aren't doing. And I'm already in an uncomfortable position, so if I do something else that's uncomfortable to most people, like, it's still probably going to be just fine, or even a little bit better than the situation that I'm in now. You know, hell, if I was in a tiny camper, I'd even have a bathroom, right? They have, like, wet baths in them where it's like a combination shower and toilet. I wouldn't even have to go to the gym to shower. So slowly, things are gonna get better, and the more money that I can bring in from my business, the furniture assembly, and also from sorry, I, like, got distracted. And also from YouTube. I mean, and now that I'm actually going to be able to make videos, I can actually, you know, maybe get that going somewhere. The more this is going to be a reality, and the more that I can do this quicker. Sorry guys, I'm like scatterbrained today. We were about to die salute. Yes, I did get the tire fixed. So, tire situation. I got 4 brand new tires April 2022. So only 2 years ago. They're 65,000 mile tires, but I've literally put that much on the car since then. A lot of that was the driving back and forth between Athens and Columbus working in 2022 and partly in 2023. Also, a lot of it was like lawsuit stuff, driving from Ohio to West Virginia and back. So all the tires matched until I think April, maybe, of must have been June of 2023, and I got a nail in the passenger front, and it went flat like immediately, like after I hit that nail. So I had to get that one replaced. So now I have 3 old tires and 1 brand new tire. And at the same time that happened, a screw, I think it is, went in the passenger side back tire. So ever since then, every single day, I have to fill that tire up. It is a complete pain in the ass, but I've just never had the money to get it fixed. And so I know you're probably like, okay, well, why didn't you get it fixed? Why did you do the other tire? I've kind of realized now there's something wrong with my car. Like, it's not something that makes it not operational, but my car is lopsided. I have no idea why, but okay. So when I got my oil changed a couple months ago at the Subaru dealership, they did like a full inspection, and they look at the tread depths of the tires, and they tell you, like, you know, which ones are good and which ones are bad. And of course, except for the random tire over here, they were all put on the same day, and they're all the same tire. So they should be wearing like fairly evenly. But the one up here was almost like completely bald. And the one back here, the one that has the screw in it, has like really good tread, almost like the one up front that's brand new. And it's kind of like, the hell? For some reason, there's like not much weight put on that tire back there, but there's a ton of weight put on this front one up here. I don't know what's going on. It doesn't cause any issues with drivability, but for some reason my car is lopsided. So yeah, that's what's going on there. And so I'm getting this one fixed, hopefully within the week. LA says, do you feel like you will lose or gain when you finally are able to file your taxes? Okay, I'm going to address this more in the 6-month financial goals update, because basically by the time I make that, I'll be back in Ohio. I'll be a little bit stabilized as far as like getting my life sorted out and getting stuff just in a position where I can get some work done. But there are so many projects that I have to do the second half of this year, and taxes are one of them. But the first hurdle to getting access to the taxes was getting, well, 1, back to Ohio, and 2, paying off the storage units so that I could have them unlocked and be able to get the tax papers. So I talked to my cousin. It's a long story, but my mom got some money somehow from... My mom just keeps finding random money. I don't know how I can start having this problem, but my mom just finds thousands and thousands of dollars laying around like constantly, even though she's not even allowed to have money because of like the program she's in at the nursing home. So every time she finds something, they make her spend it off. Well, apparently she just got like, I don't know if it was another 10 or 50 or $100,000 or what it was. It was a life insurance policy, so it might have been more than that. And God knows what she's spent it on. But one of the things that she spent it on, the only thing I know for sure, is that she paid off the past due amount on her storage unit, the one I'm paying. But again, you guys know I'm behind on everything, right? So it wasn't to the point yet where they were gonna like auction it off. They always contact me when they're at that point, and then I have to find a way to get it paid. But it was behind, and come to find out, Mom paid the past due payment, and she paid it for the entirety of this year. So for the rest of this year, I don't have to worry about making that payment, which that means that I can then shift that money to paying mine, which right now is 2 months behind, but on May 5th, I'm getting a payment from the advertising on the car, and that's gonna pay that off. So that'll be current by the time I get to Ohio. And so that was the first hurdle. Get to Ohio and get the storage units paid current so that I can get into both of them to get the tax papers, because that's where they're stored. I still have to file for 2021, 2022, and 2023. I did file for an extension for 2023, so technically I have until October. These are projects for this year, but the way that I think it's going to work out is I'm going to owe a lot for 2021. Of course, I'm going to try to write every deduction I possibly can, but I think I owe a lot of money. Because a lot of the money that I got that year was unemployment. And at least like with my self-employed income, I have deductions that offset that, but I don't with the unemployment. So I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm probably going to have to file 2021, owe a lot of money, and then go on a payment plan. But then what my plan would be is then to shortly thereafter file 2022, because in 2022 I operated at a loss. Even though I think all of my income for 2022 was self-employed. It was DoorDash, Uber Eats, Instacart, mobile ads, and TaskRabbit. But because I drove so many miles commuting to Columbus and back, I'm pretty certain that I operated at a loss, which means not only will I not owe taxes for 2022, but I will get some kind of refund. And then that refund can be applied to the money that I owe for 2021. And then for 2023, when I finally get around to filing those, it's either going to come out basically even or I'll owe a small amount. But it's, yeah, I'm not worried about that. If I can get 21 and 22 filed this year, if I'm a year late filing 23, fine, I'll eventually get caught up. So it's really my 2024 taxes that I'm going to be worried about next year, because I'm actually pretty profitable right now. And that's a little bit scary, because I'm like, oh crap, I'm going to have to start paying quarterly taxes and keep track of all that. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to owe some, but I'm going to sign up for a payment plan, and I'll just have to kind of see how it goes with that. Jennifer says, how much do you spend monthly? I need some money saving tips and tricks. I have lifestyle inflation ever since I got the new job. My apartment is like half my salary. Oh my God. Have to find something smaller. Feel kind of ashamed. I used to be so frugal. Okay, so to answer your first question, how much do I spend monthly? I have no idea. You know, I used to keep track of this when Mint was a thing, and also before all this divorce stuff happened, where I had to put my attention elsewhere. And now, of course, now that I probably have time to start categorizing everything again, Mint is gone. So it won't be until after I get back north that I'll figure out how to track all that again. And because I haven't been tracking it, I have no idea. I mean, I don't have rent, I don't have utilities. I do have my cell phone bill. I spend an obscene amount of money on food. A lot of that because I have to eat out for every meal. I have storage unit rent twice, one for mom, one for me. I have my student loan payments, which I am on a reduced program with them, so my payment is like $234 a month combined for the two. Somehow my federal student loans still require payment. I'm on the save plan, except there's something wrong with one of the loans, so I have to pay $7 a month. And under the new guidelines, I think that's going to change to $350 a month. But as of right now, I'm paying on my federal loans too, because I have like one weird loan. And then, let me see. I have my mailbox, which is $20 a month. I have my gym membership, which is like 26 something a month, and 1 month a year there's an annual fee of $49. That's paid for this year though. And then I have my credit card payments. So I'll tell you guys about this later because I don't want to like interrupt my answer to her question. But of course, the credit card payments vary based on what the balance is at the time. So I just pay the minimums until I have time to, or I mean, the extra money to put toward that. So, I'm sure I'm missing some stuff. I mean, obviously I pay money for gas. I mean, thankfully in South Carolina, gas is $2.99 a gallon. So, I'm happy about that. Everything is cheaper here, like everything. So I'm gonna get as much gas as I possibly can for the journey back. I don't actually want to do this because I have 2 gas cans in my storage unit in Ohio. I don't want to buy anymore, but I even considered buying like a giant gas can and strapping it to the side of the car just so I can bring more gas from here back. Because it's like $1.50 cheaper per gallon here than it is north. I don't remember how I got on that tangent. Oh, okay. So the rest of your question. Okay, so like I'm not gonna blame you for the apartment thing because like I mean paying half your income for the apartment is way too much, but at the same time, like you probably can't find anything cheaper because rent is like out of everything that's increased with inflation, that's like the worst of all of them. It's gone up the most. So yeah, I mean, I can't like really blame you. You got to do what you got to do. So let's see. So I mean, you could go 2 directions with this. And I feel like this is nothing special. Like I feel like this is what anybody would tell you, but you can either make more money or you can get a cheaper apartment, or of course you could lower other expenses as well. And like with making more money, you know, it's a higher paying job or a side hustle. I mean, you're a trainer. I know you can make good money with that. So, you know, if you maybe if you just pick up like 1 or 2 clients, then you could do that. Of course, you can do a combination of cutting expenses and increasing income. So now you did say something smaller. So you could, I mean, do you have like a 1-bedroom right now, or you know what that situation is? And also like you're really experienced with like horses and stuff. So I don't know where you're living now if you have access, but some places, like if you help out with the horses, like they'll give you a place to stay. I know that's probably not ideal, but I mean, if you like really hardcore wanted to cut things, you could probably do that. So if you're in a 1-bedroom, I don't know do you have studio apartments there? Is that a thing? I imagine you do, because for some reason, the apartments that IKEA designs their furniture for are like 300 square feet. Their whole thing is like living in a tiny space. So I imagine you guys have small spaces there. And is there any possibility that you could work remotely at your job and then move to like an area with a lower cost of living? I think, I'm not going to tell you to live in your car, but that's an option. Now that I know you have a car, you could do that. It's a 2-bedroom. I only need one. I work full-time and also side hustle, so I cannot work anymore, I don't think. Okay, so I'm just going to throw these out here. Personally, I probably wouldn't do any of these because, like, it just is more than I'd want to deal with. But you do have a 2-bedroom, so you could get a roommate, and, rent out the other room. Or what if you put the other room up on Airbnb? Like, create some income that way. The other thing you could do is if you get another apartment, you're saying like to get a smaller place, why don't you keep the first place and rent the entire place out on Airbnb? Or do like individual leases and have 2 tenants, each with an individual lease on the room, like the bedroom, and then they could have the shared space. So you just have to be able to sublease. I don't know what the laws are there, but that would work in America most places. Of course, yeah, no, I mean, and so just consider that, like, if you're going to consider moving, on one hand, you can just move into a different apartment and get rid of the apartment you have now. Or on the other hand, you can move, but keep this apartment and use it as a way to increase income. Even if you have to hire a property manager, or, well, there's like a similar thing for Airbnb properties. If you don't have time to do it, they usually, I know in the US for property managers for apartments, they usually take 8% of the monthly rent, and they deal with finding tenants, screening, like issues, stuff like that. So that's something that you could look into. I'm trying to think, outside of, it seems like housing is your biggest issue. I do think that you should see if you can work remotely, just depending on what it is you do for a job. I'm thinking, because you could, here, this is just coming from an American mindset, but I was thinking, somewhere cheaper in your own country, but I think Sweden's in the EU, right? So I think you're allowed to work from any EU country. Like if you say, for example, you stayed at the job you're at now, but they let you go remote, but you could move to like the Czech Republic where it's a lot cheaper, or somewhere like that where, I don't know, just an idea. Okay, there we go. So those are all options. Of course, with your current situation too, I guess it makes it tough because like you're not living with anyone. You don't have anyone to split rent with. Okay. Jennifer says, thank you for the advice. I can't rent it out if I don't live there. since I don't own the apartment, but roommate would be an option. So, oh, okay. I can work from home 2 days a week, but not full time. I mean, that's nice that you've got like the hybrid thing. Okay, so that cuts that option out. What about, okay, so that leaves the option. If you do go the roommate situation, you can either, 1, get an actual roommate, or 2, you can rent that room out on Airbnb. If you're able to rent it probably more than half the month on Airbnb, you would make more than having just like a steady, constant roommate. And look, I know roommates suck. Mine tried to kill me, so I totally understand if you don't want to go with that option. I was just trying to think of any other options, and like all the stuff I can come up with is pretty extreme. Like, secretly sleeping in your office, things like that. Things that I've done, but I know most people wouldn't want to do. And it's different with me because I'm doing that kind of stuff currently being homeless. It's different though if you're coming from like a stable situation like you, where you have your own place. So, yeah. Yeah, Jennifer says Airbnb would actually be an option. Well, let me know if you go that route, because I've been an Airbnb host before, and it was like more a situation where I just rented my couch out on Airbnb. It wasn't even a room. So I can help you get that set up. It's like a flying spider. Okay. So yeah, we can look into that. Just let me know about that, and I can help you out. I'm really excited about that kind of stuff myself too, because God, it just feels so good to be able to do anything for myself after having to focus on somebody else for all these years. So yeah, the idea would be if I get back to Ohio and I get my money stabilized, I'm just gonna buy land. I can't use that piece of land I have right now. There's some tie-ups with family drama, so where I can't really do anything with it. But the land I'm looking at, there's 2 different lots I'm gonna check out that'll be in that vlog for my return journey home. One is like just like wooded like land out in the middle of nowhere, and the other one is like a city lot in town that just doesn't have anything on it. So I'm gonna look at both of those, but it's not just about me being able to put a trailer there, and not a trailer, but like a camper there and live rent free. It is about also using that to generate income somehow, whether that be, maybe I let somebody park something there and they pay me rent to leave, their boat or something there, or for the more rural one, I'll have to come up with some ideas, but I want to start generating income as well. Okay, Jennifer says, I live in the middle of the city with beach view, so it would probably be an attractive place to rent out, but do I dare to let strangers into my apartment? Well, I mean, I did. I only had one guy. He stayed for like 2 months. while he was trying to get the money together to get a deposit for his own apartment, and he just stayed on my couch, and it was all fine. I mean, he was annoying, and that's probably something you're gonna have to deal with. You do have to, yeah, I mean, you do have to get comfortable with strangers, and I can understand like why you wouldn't want to do that. So if that's not like, if that's not something that you're comfortable with, you know, we could brainstorm other ideas of other ways that you could make money, either with the apartment or, yeah, I mean, with anything else. Oh, also, you don't have to tell me this. You said you live in a city. Do you live in like one of the biggest cities in the country? Because, oh shoot, no, never mind. You said, you don't have to answer that. You already said that you can't handle any more work because you're doing side hustles already. I was gonna say, I mean, you know, I do TaskRabbit, and when I get tasks, I make pretty decent money there. But I don't know. I'd really have to think on that to think on what else you could do. I mean, it really seems either roommate, Airbnb, or just get like a smaller place. We Who Are About to Die Salute You says, fast food is expensive. However, there are ways around it, somewhat. A lot of apps nowadays offer free this with any purchase. Just make sure the purchase item costs less than the free item. So, you guys have been encouraging me to get the apps for the food places, and I've done that for some of them. The problem is that half the time I forget to use the app. But a lot of times the specials that I see are for like more food than, like, they're always meant for like couples. Like, it's always like Arby's, for example. Arby's has got a new thing that they're doing where it's like, I think it's once a week. If you buy one sandwich, you get a second sandwich free. I'm like, well, what am I going to do with a second sandwich? Like, I'm not just going to keep it in the car, and then I don't have any way to like warm it up later. Technically, I do. It would not be the first time that I've put a sandwich in the engine. I don't know if you guys have ever done that, but you can warm up food on the car. So, I mean, I guess technically I could do that. Oh, and that reminded me, somebody earlier in one of the comments said something about cooking in the car, and I think I completely missed that. I can't cook in this car because this car is very small. It's technically a subcompact. It is so packed with stuff right now, just because I had to take so much stuff for the road trip. It'll be a little less cluttered once I'm able to make it to the storage unit and put the stuff in that I don't need. But there's no extra room for like food stuff. The only way that I could really make that happen is if I built a platform in the back that had pull-out drawers that, like, when I open the hatch, I could pull that outside. But then I only have an outdoor kitchen, and it's like, well, you know, what do I do when it's storming or cold? So reasonably, I really can't cook in the car, and I also don't have a way to store any food in here. So I think my best option is just to wait until I get back to Ohio, get access to the co-working spaces, and then just use that as my food storage and prep areas. Jennifer says, yes, it's one of the biggest cities, but I already work like 70 hours per week. But during the summer, I have 4 weeks PTO. Maybe I could find something to do during those weeks. Yeah, I mean, you could, but I mean, I don't think you should do that. Like, I think, like, you need to take time to rest. And, so, I mean, it sounds like you're working a ton, and you've got a really expensive apartment. But, I don't know, I'm just trying to figure out how, it seems like you're, like, struggling a lot with it, and I'm surprised, really, because how does it work there? Like, do you have a salary, or do you make, like, hourly? And even if you tell me how much you make per hour, I guess it's not gonna, I'm not gonna understand, like, the cost of living or the currency conversion to know if that's good or bad. But, like, do you think that your jobs that you have are, like, low paying compared to the cost of living? Oh yeah, and we who are about to die salute you. Half the time I just forget to use the apps. Pretty good about Chipotle, because I save up the points to get free entrees. Qdoba, I'm really good, because I'm chef status, so I get $2 chips and queso. I get that at least once a week, and just use it as a meal substitute. But it just depends. Like, the regular fast food restaurants, like Wendy's, I always forget to use my app. Honestly, I can't wait till I'm back in a place with Sheets, because I've got so many points that I can use. Sheets stops, like, just north of Charlotte. I think Statesville is the last one. But, like, the whole drive back, I'll have Sheets. So, all the MTO that I haven't been able to have this whole time, I'll blow through all my points and get some free food and get all that. That's what I'm planning on happening, is, like, when I get back to Columbus, I think everything is just going to kind of, like, slowly happen on its own. I'm gonna, like, slowly start losing weight, just because I'm gonna have access to be able to eat better, which will also help my finances, because it's literally gonna cut my food budget, like, in half. There are weird bugs down here. Get out of my car. So yeah, I don't know, we'll see. I'm just in a place where I'm trying to gather all the money. Jennifer says, I have a salary for my full-time job, and it's an okay salary. And my side hustle is my own company where I teach at university. Oh, okay. I didn't know you were a professor. I think I might be undercharging, though. So when you say you're undercharging, do you tell the university, like, how much you need to be paid? Because, like, my dad was, I don't know if he still is, but he was a college professor, and when he was an adjunct professor, like, they would assign them contracts per class. So, like, if he was going to get one class to teach that semester, they would say, okay, here's your contract. This will be a one-time payment. I think it was $2,600 they were paying him, but this is also like 20 years ago. And so you get like $2,600 for the one class. But it sounds like you're saying that you tell them like I don't know if you give them like an estimate of what you're going to charge. I don't know. Huh. But yeah, so I'm just looking like I'm just waiting to get back, and what's going to happen the next couple weeks here. So this is the 28th of April. We got the 29th, 30th. April only has 30 days, right? Yeah. So, and then on the 1st, Wednesday, is my last big job unless I get anything else scheduled before I go home. I'm going to try to get some stuff scheduled that last week, but if not, I'm just going to save up money working from like the 1st to the 7th or whatever. And then that'll be my gas money and food money to go home. Jennifer says, yes, I tell them how much my lectures cost per hour, and every contract I sign is for different amount of hours. Okay. Okay, so you set your hourly, and then your contract is based on, well, however much you get paid for the contract is based on how many hours they assign for that contract. Okay. Of course, I have no idea. Wait, from 20 to 40 hours spanning over 4 to 8 weeks. Yeah, and I would have no way of knowing, like, if what you're charging is comparable or not. I mean, of course, as you get more experience and you work with them longer, of course you're going to want to increase that, not just because of inflation, but because you can argue that you're more experienced now. Now you're a teacher with you're not a novice teacher, you're like a teacher with a year experience, so you need to be compensated for that on top of increase in cost of living and that kind of stuff. All right, hold on, guys. This bug is driving me crazy. I'm gonna do something because I don't want it on me. Don't get. Okay, I got it. It just did not want to leave the car. Okay. All right, well, so, I mean, it's a tough situation, but I feel like if you have a salary and you say that salary's okay, and then you're also teaching and you got more money coming in then, like, you should be able to afford an apartment. I say that fully knowing that that's not the case in America, but thinking that you should be able to get an apartment. But rent is probably crazy there like it is here. Jennifer says, exactly. I have been doing it for 3 years, so should probably charge more, but it is such an uncomfortable conversation to have. Yeah, I see that, but I feel like you have even more leverage, especially that you've been doing it for 3 years. You can even say, I mean, I would say what I said. Say, I would take numbers in and show like what the actual inflation numbers are and say like, this is what I originally charged you. This is what that per hour would be had it increased with inflation. And then I would also make the argument that you are now a third year or a fourth year teacher and should be compensated for that experience. But I think that you can also make the point to them that you have not asked for an increase all this time. You know, because if they try to argue with you and say, oh, well, like, you know, or whatever the argument is, just be like, well, you know, I haven't asked for this for this number of years. I don't know. I mean, it is uncomfortable. I definitely get where you're coming from with that. I feel like that's how I'm going to be tomorrow in that interview with IKEA. Because they put a huge range. It was something like $18 to $30 an hour or something. And if they do offer it to me, I'm sure they're going to try to get it for like 18. And I'm just going to be like, this is a part-time retail position. Not only do I have experience with your company and building your furniture, but I have a lot of years of retail management experience. I've been a store manager. Like, I'm clearly, it needs to be closer to that 30 per hour range. And yeah, that's uncomfortable, but I'm also completely okay with walking away from the job if they're not willing to do that. And I know you're not, because you want to do that job and you also need the income. Freshlight says, doesn't look like Jennifer has any real problem apart from wanting to save more. Well, I mean, I would say, yeah, she wants to save more, and also it sounds like her apartment's just too expensive. I don't know if that's just the one that she chose, or if it's just that rent is really expensive there, because, you know, it is anywhere. That's another reason why I just don't see any scenario under which I'm going to go back to paying rent, because even if I wanted to, how could I? Job want to pay $20 an hour. Rent for a one-bedroom apartment's $2,500 a month. I mean, there's just no way. So I just know that I'm going to get a lot further ahead if I don't even have any part of that. If I have to buy a piece of land and sleep in my car on it, you know, why I do that while I'm building my business, like, I'm definitely gonna, in the long run, end up in a lot better position, not paying, God, like $2,500 a month plus another 1,000 in utilities. Jennifer says, Fresh Lights is on point. I want to have more financial freedom. Well, I mean, you should. You know, whoever it be, landlords or utility companies, you know, if they had their way, you wouldn't have anything. You know, they'll take any surplus value. Okay, let me start getting into Marxist theory here. I mean, you're from a socialist country, so yeah, I'm sure you're not offended, but like, you know, but like, that's what they want, is they want to take everything and leave you with nothing. And That's why you have to be super creative to, you know, to get away from that. Jennifer says, I had to take this apartment because it was the only one available, even though I thought it was too expensive in relation to my financial goals. Yeah, and I mean, I know you had like a situation too where, like, when you moved, like, I understand what was going on with that, and that, like, you had to get a place. Yeah, that's fine, and you're doing that. You're gonna want to take a break though. Like, definitely take your PTO and don't like work during that. But also, either way you go with it, whether you're gonna get a roommate or rent the place out or just get a cheaper place, like, do that kind of thing rather than just continuing to work yourself to death. I mean, coming from an American who, you know, that's what I've done my whole life, don't do that. Because it's just awful. So yeah, I mean, depending on which way you decide to go with that, I mean, one thing that you could be doing now. Oh, okay, good. I didn't lose my car key. That's good. Got it here. So one thing you could be doing now is just looking for apartments and just see, like, if there are any in a lower price range that's still like close enough for you to commute to work. Oh, you used to own a house. Yeah, I wasn't gonna say that like publicly, but I knew you moved because of the relationship thing. Yeah, I mean, and it sucks too, but I'm the same scenario. I'm 38 and starting out my life again because of my ex. So yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to start completely over. And I think, oh, felt like the right thing to do since I was the one who initiated the breakup. That makes sense. And yeah, no, I get that. And I did something similar. I don't think I told you guys this, but I ended up telling her just to keep the money that she owed me. I mean, I could definitely use it, and she definitely doesn't need it, but I knew it was going to be another huge battle to try to get that. So I kind of just told her, you know what, just keep it and go away, because I don't want to like, I don't want to have another fight about this. So so I get it. Like, I was the one trying to wrap up the court stuff, and because I was the one asking for it, I just let her have what she already had anyway. But yeah, and I don't know about like home ownership there, but I would assume property taxes are high because of, you know, like all the, you guys have got like healthcare and stuff that you pay for. The place that I'm looking at, so my property that I own right now, my taxes are $7 a year. The one of the places that I'm going to go look at when we one of the places I'm going to go look at is the rural land, because there's a rural one and a city lot that I'm going to go look at. The rural land, I think it said the taxes are $485 a year, which does sound like a lot to me. But if I just set that, like, divided it up monthly and set that aside, that would be fine. I can do that. And of course, the smaller lot in town is going to be less than that. So yeah, I feel like yours are going to be a lot higher though, because the places that I'm looking are in rural districts that don't have even by American standards, very high taxes. They're kind of in areas where people are very conservative and will always vote against any new taxes. So I don't think they even have school taxes, which are usually Jennifer says, sorry for hogging the chat, but it is so nice to have you and chat discussing this with. I have nobody in my life who analyzes these things like we do here. Yeah, you're completely fine. And also, I mean, you're one of my mods, so if you ever need to reach out to me, like, you can do that. Like, I know, well, we still need to figure out a messaging system for the mods. We've not done that yet, but for now, if I know I follow you on my business account for Instagram, so if you want to talk, just message me on there and we can talk about it. And then she asked, how's the rest of the people doing? I hope everyone is well. Nobody else is saying anything, so I think they're just watching us right now, which is fine. Nobody's commented for a long time, but I'm surprised that there are still 20 people on here. That's cool, if they just want to watch. I think I think what I'm gonna do, unless anybody else makes any comments, I'm going to pretty shortly here wrap things up. I'm gonna go ahead and make that video, the return video, and I would hope that I have it up by the end of May. No promises, but that's the goal, because I should be back mid-May, so we'll see how that goes. And then that's pretty much it. I mean, what's gonna happen this week is I'm gonna have the next 2 days off. I've got to kind of do some like side hustle work, but I'm gonna have the next 2 days off. Wednesday, I've got that big job, which is going to pay the phone bill and give me the money to drive back. And then from the 2nd through the 7th, I'm basically going to try to work most of those days to get as much money together as possible and also get the tire fixed to be ready to leave on the 8th. Max says, STEM degrees fail sometimes. 75% of students sending mins of thousands of students into debt and no degree. Thoughts? STEM degrees fail sometimes. STEM degrees fail sometimes. 75% of students sending mins of thousands of students into debt and no degree. I don't know exactly what you mean. Are you saying 75% of people who major in STEM fields? Oh, wow. Oh, thank you, Jennifer. I just saw your super chat. 200 kroner. I really appreciate that. So Jennifer just said, thanks for the advice and nice live. I know it's late where you are. I'm actually going to be ending the stream here fairly soon. So Max, I'm not sure if I'm understanding you correctly here. You're saying that 75% of students who are in STEM fields don't end up graduating, and then they're in debt for the education, both no degree. I mean, I think honestly the education is beneficial to you, even if you can't make money with it. I mean, obviously, like, if you can get a job using that degree, you should try whatever you can to finish that and get that degree. I didn't know it was nearly that high, although I can see that because, like, what I think a lot of people forget is, like, yes, I have a bachelor's in clinical psychology, but after working for a year, I actually liked to, or what am I talking about? After going out and working for a year and seeing how, like, poor I was, I went back to school and I started doing a second degree in petroleum engineering, and I just couldn't handle the math. So, I mean, part of that is I hadn't had a math class in 10 years. Um, if my situation was more stable and better, I think I probably could have, like, sat down and learned it, but didn't have a chance to. Okay, so Seth, any chance you can give us a brief breakdown of your daily routine while car living in terms of finding a spot, showering, etc.? I hope you're doing well this month. So I can kind of, like, just talk about it a little bit here. That might be something that I might have to just make a video about, like, either like a daily routine kind of thing, or like well, kind of like a get ready with me, but, like, not, obviously I'm not putting makeup on. But, like, okay, so I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, at least the metro area. Now I'm in Rock Hill, South Carolina right now, which is a city in the metro area, but it's also, like, big enough to be a city on its own. I'm there right now, and I basically kind of sleep wherever I'm going to be needed the next day. I don't sleep the same place every night because I'm obviously trying not to get in trouble for being there. And I try to only sleep at places that I'm allowed to be, but even then I don't want to stay every single night and, like, overstay my welcome. Now, generally what happens every morning is I wake up, get the car warmed up. One of the first things I do is I usually go to the gas station because I've got the bad tire that needs filled up every morning. So I drive to the gas station, fill the tire, use the bathroom, get, like, one of these for caffeine to start my day. This is $1.84. And then usually go seek out some kind of food. Then, depending on whether I work that day or not, like, sometimes if I don't work, I skip a shower just because it's an entire ordeal. But otherwise, I will go to the gym, get a shower, and that's when I kind of start my day. So I'll either then go do whatever I needed to do that day, or I'll go work wherever I'm going to work. And generally, I stop working around 10 o'clock, because even with DoorDash, by that point, most of the fast food restaurants are drive-through only, and it's not worth it at that time to sit in that. So I usually stop around 10. I kind of park the car somewhere, sometimes where I'm going to sleep, sometimes just a random parking lot for now. And I catch up with a lot of notifications on my phone. I play PUBG Mobile a lot of nights, like either 1 or 2 rounds. And I will play a couple rounds. Sometimes I watch something on my phone, either YouTube or HBO Max, because I get that free with my phone plan. But that's not super common for me to actually watch something. And then I try to sort of wrap up my day. I do a lot of accounting stuff on my phone, either the income for the day or, like, accounting for the mileage, so I can use it for deductions later. Despite what everything looks like back here, I am actually super organized. And after that, you know, I just kind of chill out until, like, maybe 2, sometimes 3 in the morning, looking up random stuff on my phone, and then I do it again the next day. It's not always the most productive thing, but it's productive considering that I'm living in my car. And, you know, I'm getting by, and I've only got a few days left of it until I have that co-working space. So, yeah. I'm excited for all the projects I've got this summer. It's just a lot. It's a lot to deal with. And Jennifer, thank you again for the super chat. And I'm serious about that. If you want to reach out to me, you know how to. Sandra says, agree with Seth. I like to follow vloggers on their journeys and their daily routines. If I did that, it would have to be just like sort of like a day in the life kind of thing. It would be another vlog. And if I did that, it would come out after the journey home vlog, if that makes sense. I also, because, oh my God, hold on. You guys see that, right? Like, I'm not crazy. I just cannot grab it. I don't know, it went out the window. So, totally forgot what I was talking about, but that's okay. All right. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm wrapping up everything here in the Carolinas. I've got the tire to get fixed. I've got 1 day of work scheduled. I'm going to try to schedule some more. But beyond that, it's just saving the money up to get that tire done and to get going. I'm just heading back. I'm really looking forward to camping for a couple nights on the way back. Oh, Seth says, I appreciate you answering. It was interesting. I think you're doing well considering the circumstances. Don't be too hard on yourself. I try. Yeah, I try not to. And I'm trying to make the best of things as well. So, you know, even though things aren't good at all, I'm happy when I get things fixed on the car. I'm happy that I get to camp for a couple nights. And that's the closest to a vacation I've had since 2013. So, even if because I literally don't even have the money to do anything. I'm literally just going to be hanging out by the river for like 2 days. There's not even any cell phone service, so I'm just going to have to entertain myself down there. And well-behaved wallet, hey, just joining now. And just so you know, I am still going to follow up with you at some point about doing a collab with you, but it might be honestly like toward the end of the year, just because I know it's going to be mid-year before I even get settled in Ohio. And if I don't get the fraternity job, then it's going to be, yeah, like I'm going to be just toward the end of the year. It might be even later if I do get the fraternity job, because then I'm going to have to move again in like July or August and get settled somewhere. So, like wherever they send me. Yeah, well-behaved wallet said, are you happy to be heading back north? I really am. I mean, especially for the winter, the Carolinas have been really good. It still got too cold here, but it was at least like reasonable and not where it's so cold that you're like angry that it's so cold. And it made it more tolerable. So the Carolinas, that's the one big thing that I got, is that just it was like a reasonable temperature. But I don't know. I don't want to like stay here. I know you guys are always asking me like, you know, where would you live if you could live anywhere? And I really haven't explored enough places to know. I do know it's not here. But I'm glad to be going back because I really only left, Whoa. Oh, thank you, Miranda. Okay. Thanks, Miranda. Got a super chat for $9.99. And also, it says here that says let's celebrate their third super on a live stream. So this is the third time that you've given a creator a super chat. So awesome. I think it's not so much that I'm going back to Ohio. I think it's just that I only left Ohio because I needed to escape for the winter, for the warmth. And now I've kind of like completed that. And I think just because some time has passed, like the months have passed, from dealing with all this stuff with my ex, I'm now that I'm going back to sort of reestablish my life. And I don't know if it's the time passing or if it's just me like physically moving to another location that like gives me that kind of motivation, but it really seems like, okay, like I had to take a break and like bow out, but now like I'm coming back to rebuild everything that's messed up in my life. And having access to my storage units and getting back to areas that I'm familiar with, and that sort of thing, it feels good. That's like the only way I can really put it. And yeah, I do think that my life is gonna, like, quality of life is gonna get a lot better. Being back, being able to work on projects that I need to work on, having the time to do it now, and having access to the storage unit to do that stuff. Yeah, I think all that's gonna help a lot. And I really think it's going to be easier for me to build a business in Columbus than it is here. And I just saw your comment about the familiar surroundings. Like, it's especially important for that, for the business, because as far as like targeting marketing and stuff like that, it's much easier for me to do in a city that I know. I know the different areas and demographics. Let me see here. And then Well-Behaved Wallet said, and yes, I agree that you're doing remarkably well, given your circumstances. Hang in there. I'm optimistic. That's all I can say right now. I feel like things have gotten so bad that they only can get better from here. And for once in the, in 2 or 3 years now, they seem to be doing that, even if it's just like really small stuff. And then you said, oh my God, don't even worry about following up. I haven't been making videos lately either. Oh, well. Yeah, I went over to your channel, I don't remember, maybe a couple weeks ago. And I was looking, because I actually have not been watching what I thought I'd not been watching your videos. And then I realized, yeah, that you haven't posted any. But the thing is, I'm subscribed to you, but I don't know what my issue is, but for the last few months, I never look at the subscribe or like the subscriptions tab on YouTube. I just scroll through like the homepage, and usually if I'm subscribed to somebody, they push the content to the homepage, but sometimes they don't. Like SNL. I'm subscribed to SNL, but I never see their videos when they're posted. I actually have to physically go to their channel, so I don't know what's up with that, but I thought that something like that was happening with you. And then Well-Behaved Wallet says, hoping you get the fraternity job or something where you can have solid ground housing for a bit. Yeah, so that is really my only shot at getting housed this year, just being realistic. So just yesterday, or maybe it was today, TMUSA commented on an old video to make sure that I reach out about that, just so they remember. Because I mean, they told me they would reach out, but it's been a year. So that way, I'm gonna ask the executive director about any positions coming up, and I'm gonna do that. And I'm almost a little bit dreading it, just because it's gonna be another major change. Like, I'm gonna drive back to Ohio mid-May, and then if I get the job by mid-July, I have to move somewhere else. So it's like good that I'm getting an apartment, but then it's just like another major change, and it's a lot to deal with. I know it's good. I know I need a place that has a kitchen and a bathroom and you know, a place to do laundry. I know it's going to give me a lot more stability, and you know, that $1,500 a month stipend doesn't hurt, but I am a little hesitant just because of the change, and I really hope they have a decent place to send me, because oh my god, if I have to go to Alaska, like, that was on the list of places last time, and there's no way this car is going to make it to Alaska. Well, okay, I feel bad saying that. Maybe it would, but that's not a chance I'm going to take. Jennifer says, do YouTube take a cut from the super chats, or do you get it all? Love to see the support from this nice little community we have here that you have created. Yes. So anything that goes through YouTube, they do take a cut of. So whether it be the AdSense revenue, which is just from the ads that pop up, the sun is like directly in my face. When the ads pop up that you guys watch, or if it would be like channel memberships, or super chats, or super stickers, any of those kinds of things, they do take a percentage of it. So it's kind of hard for me directly, Jennifer, to tell you how much they're taking, because since you're using a different currency, it shows me in US dollars how much is added. It was $18 and something. But so like, I think the way it works is like, if it was like $20 USD, I think it would show me what it would be after YouTube's cut, and I could say like the difference is like this dollar amount or whatever. I'm so confused. I'm confusing myself. But yeah, I mean, to your point, yeah, they do take a percentage out. If you guys ever want, I mean, I really appreciate the super chats, and I like that it like highlights them in the chat so everybody can see that you did that. But if you ever want to donate and not have as much in fees come out, all of my videos have a PayPal link in the description, and you can send it there. I have a special PayPal just for the channel. It does right now have the note on it saying that like in the next budget review you'll get a shout out, and I mean, obviously we're not making budget review videos, but just, you know, let me know if you want me to give you credit for that or not. PayPal does still take out fees, but it's a lot less. I want to say it's like 1 or 3% or something like that, and then there's a 50-cent or 75% fee if I cash it out immediately, rather than transferring it over to a bank account. But it's a significant difference over what YouTube does. But the positive of doing it on YouTube is that I hit that $100 threshold for payout quicker. It contributes to that. So either way, I'm happy that you guys want to help me out. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. It's whatever works best for you guys. Let's see. Yeah, and you said love to see the support from this nice little community we have here that you've created. Hey, I mean, like, I don't know that I really created it. I mean, you guys found me through my videos, and you guys decided to stay here. So I don't know if I created it or you guys created it, but I'm glad that you guys are here being supportive and that you care about what's going on with me. Well-Behaved Wallet says, yes, completely agree. You've got a plan and a direction. Here's hoping you get a few lucky breaks during the rest of this year. And then she says, I have a lot going on as well. Starting a new job a few months ago. Okay, it's exhausting, yeah. Yeah, you know, as far as the plan, I've really only developed the plan within like the last couple weeks. I mean, literally since 2021, when that was supposed to be the year that I went full-time on YouTube. And I did. Well, you guys probably don't know that. I filmed a ton of stuff, and then the girl went wild, whatever happened with her. And then every second of my time for the next 3 years has been focused on her. So this like whole time that I was supposed to be already full-time on YouTube and like all of this stuff was supposed to be going on, my focus has not been on anything that's going on with me. And even when it sort of was, like me, like the lawsuit, I mean, it was over her, right? So I was still kind of focusing on her rather than able to do anything in my life. And that includes like making videos, even categorizing my finances on Mint. Like literally, I could do nothing for myself. And so finally, as this stuff is wrapping up, not complete yet, but like wrapping up, I'm finally able to shift some focus over to doing things for me. And that's so sorely needed. But I'm really surprised at how good it feels to be able to start working on my own projects, even if that's just to get caught up on paying my taxes, or finally getting things fixed on the car, or planning the next step to make my life better, which right now is looking like buying some land and putting a camper there so that I can continue to live rent-free, but like, you know, better than living in my car. LA says, yes, I enjoy getting together with everyone each month. Yeah, and you know, guys, like, the reason I started doing these monthly live streams is something happened in 2020. I mean, like, I think we all know something big happened in 2020, but like, beyond that, something toward the end of it, and I don't even remember what, made me stop being able to post videos as frequently. And I think I was only making like the budget reviews and budget with me's. I wasn't really getting information out to you guys about what was going on in my life. And I still remember, because the day that I did the first random live stream that just happened to be the last Sunday of the month, which is why we do them on the last Sunday of the month now, it really was meant just to kind of hang out and kind of be able to also make some announcements about what's going on in my life and what's going on with the channel, because I felt like I wasn't posting videos often enough for you guys to really know like what was going on with that. So I started that one. I liked it. I liked being able to do that. You guys I asked you if we should continue doing it, and everybody said yeah, and we've done it ever since. So I think that this is going to be something that no matter how big my channel eventually gets, at the very minimum, we're going to have just like one time a month that we get together to hang out, to answer questions, for me to make announcements, and I think that's important. So yeah, I'm kind of still in the brainstorming era right now, but by the time that I'm able to publish in early July the 6-month update to the 2024 financial goals, I'll have a lot more solid idea of what my goals are going to be for the last half of the year. They're mostly going to be projects. I mean, I've already said one of them is going to be getting my taxes done, but all of these things that I've neglected, some of them are going to be things for this channel, things that are going to expand the channel and, you know, make it something that I can hopefully live a little bit more off of. But some things are about my life, and some things are about the car, and just there's so much that has needed to be done over the last 3 years that there's no rhyme or reason or sense to any of it. I just need to start somewhere. And let me get my thoughts a little more organized on that, and then I can talk about that in that video. Okay. And then Well-Behaved Wallop says, so glad to hear it feels good to focus on yourself. Really sounds positive. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not okay. I'm messed up from all this, right? And I'm sad, I'm depressed, I'm all of these things, but I've been all of those things all this time. But even with those things being there, I'm feeling a little bit better just because I can see movement like in a positive direction. So the one big thing that is going to change all that is getting back to Ohio. It sounds stupid, but getting a haircut, because I mean, look, but like getting a haircut, getting back in a place where I have a kitchen and everything, and the stability that all of that provides. And then when I have that stability, like the productivity that allows me to have. And then from that productivity, I'm going to feel so much better of like getting a lot of all this stuff taken care of. So that's kind of where things are. And I mean, in the meantime, it's just kind of nice to go on a road trip. Sandra says, it's a nice thought to keep that every time you come online, there's a small pocket of folks who care what's going on with you in your life. Yeah, it really is. Because I'm not used to that. You guys know how my family is, and well, I've pretty much lost all of my friends through the divorce. So yeah, I mean, even though it's something I'm not used to, I still like it. I'm glad that you guys care. So one thing that I do want to say though is all the people who I recognize your names in the chat and you guys are here every month, like I am going to try to grow this channel, but I hope that you guys stick around. I don't, you know, right now we have 24 people in the chat, but if someday we have 240, you know, I want you guys to still feel a part of it and still be there. And that might require at some point, you know, maybe there'd be like one general live stream, and maybe at a different time during the month we do like a members only live stream or something. But I mean, that's way down the road. I don't want you guys to ever feel like just because things get bigger that, you know, I don't know, I've like lost sight of things. And I'm also not trying to be like PewDiePie. I just really, it would be really helpful, especially with me trying to live like rent-free, to have a significant amount coming in from, well, YouTube and other social media. I just need to find the time to actually put into it. Making videos, obviously, but also little projects. And apparently I don't have to worry about TikTok, so I'm I'm glad that I didn't start doing that and learn how to do short form and then, you know, not being able to do it anyway. So, but anyway, guys, I think there's still 23 people on, but that's the end of the comments. We've been on for, oh, I don't know what, like 2.5 hours, I think. I'm probably going to cut it short here. if you guys are watching this back, not live, but later, go ahead and leave comments. I know I'm terrible at getting back to comments, but I do read them all. So if you need to say anything to me, feel free to leave it in the comments, and we will do this again next month, at which point I will be back in Ohio, and hopefully we have a much better setup and I'm not filming in the car. And in the meantime, before that, hopefully I will have my vlog up about my trip back. So yeah, thank you for everybody being here and everyone who gave super chats. I'm hopeful. That's just all I'm saying. I think this is a big turning point of where I've hit rock bottom, and now I'm kind of looking up the other direction. So yeah, so thank you guys for being with me through all of that, because that sucked, but things are just gonna get better from here. All right, so I will see you guys either in next month's live stream or whenever I post the vlog, and you can see my whole trip coming back. And I'll see you guys then.